Hello there, you guys, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Mr. Healthy Habits Show. I thank you again, as always, for joining me here on this journey into the self and personal development as I have gone about it. Thanks again so much. And today we are going to continue our discussion from the previous episode regarding the notion that we are nothing more than a biological response to the environment, and how exactly we can find peace in that notion, and where exactly is the self-development and personal growth part of this that I'm going to share here with you today. Now, I understand the previous episode may have been a bit of a dark topic. Many people have trouble with the idea that we are really nothing more than a collection of microorganisms working together for survival against an external environment. Many people take exception to that, and it is a dark topic when you start telling people that there's a possibility that we're nothing more than that, and that we fundamentally have no soul or no self, and that the soul is largely a made-up concept. It's something that we conceptualized, that our brain created in order to attempt to survive long after the body has shut down. But I'm going to argue here, again, going around in a bit of a circle, that the only reason that seems like a dark topic is because of brain chemistry. When you hear the idea that we might not have a soul, to many people that's perceived as a very dark idea, but that is simply a biological response. It is one and the same. You hear that, and it buffets your ideas of survival, of going on after death, of the fact that we get to achieve some sort of heavenly nirvana or something like that. The idea that we get to come back as beings and somehow survive. That idea is shaken by this. But it's really simply just another form of biology at work. When you hear these ideas, it causes a chemical biological response in your brain to fight this, because you hear it and it doesn't sound like something that is beneficial to your survival. It doesn't sound like this is going to help you progress after the body has shut down. So there is a natural response within your brain to see this as a dark topic and to steer away from it. But the fact that we see this as a dark topic really only serves as testament to the ideas here that I'm trying to convey through these lectures that I've been listening to recently on metaphysics. Now, this podcast will take another turn in the episodes to come. Soon I will be talking about Lao Tzu and living in harmony with the universe, and more on living a meaningful life. But this is kind of the turn that I've taken at the moment. Everything that I've said in these series of podcasts and the podcasts that I've created, I was very much compelled to say and to create based on my biological response to what I've been listening to, that I've hoped to share here with you guys. Now, first, we are going to discuss the possibility again that if we are a biological response and our brain shuts off and there is no more us, and the only bit of existence that we have left after we're gone are the influences and the waves that we've left in the people that we love and the people that we've interacted with, in the work that we've done in our lives. If this is all true and we really do shut down one day and are gone, I'm going to argue here that this is not a dark thing. This is not something for us to feel bad about. This shouldn't induce some sort of biological chemical response that views this as a dark topic. This is precisely what makes life beautiful. It's what makes life worth living. If I got to go on forever and come back and see my friends and family whenever I wanted, what would be the point of this life? The fact that I have this day with my kids and with my friends and my family and my loved ones. And after today, if my body were to shut down, I would be gone and I would never see them again. That is what makes today so valuable to us. That is what makes every interaction with my loved ones so much more precious and so much more valuable. This is what makes the weekend that I'm going to share with my wife and my kids so much more meaningful. The fact that one of these days I'm going to be gone. And I very well may not be able to come back and see them again and see them grow and live on. This is all I have. So I need to make the most of it. I need to make the most of it and teach them what I believe, give them a part of me, give them a part of me that is so profound that it affects them, that they go on and carry that on to their kids, and that they're compelled to teach their kids about me and who I am and the life that I've led and the impacts that I've had on them. It makes it so much more important for me to do this, knowing that this very, very well might be all that we have, this life. If there is no eternity and we are just biology, this life is all we have. It's what we've been given. It is more of a blessing. It is more of a blessing, not less. It is more special. It is not less. If I am just a collection of biology responding to an environment, that makes my life more valuable, not less valuable. There is great peace in knowing this. There is great peace in knowing that this day very well could be all that we have, and that once I'm gone, eternal rest or whatever it may be, the influences that I've left on my kids and my family and my friends in this world and the work that I've done will be a testament to the life that I had lived. It will serve as an example that I've been here, because I led a life geared towards getting the most out of every day, not planning on ever coming back. And we'll be back after this. I always wanted to say that. I'm so glad I got I'm so glad I got to say that, but we will be back after this. Now, here is a word from our sponsor. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, and that's another thing that I've always wanted to say. But now we will continue our discussion here on the possibility that all we have is the life that we're currently living and today. And once our biology has shut down, that's it. And that, again, is what makes our lives so valuable. That's what makes our time here so valuable. That being the very real possibility that this life that we have is all that we have to make a lasting impression and to reach out and connect with loved ones and have an effect on them that will better them later on down the road in their own lives. At the end of the day, the only thing that survives is my story. My story will survive and will live on and will continue to have an impact on my loved ones and their loved ones and their offspring and so on, as long as I do what I can to write a compelling story. This is my story. Our lives are our story, and if anything from us goes on and lives on throughout eternity, it's our story. That is something that does not die when we die. That is something that will be passed down through generations. And that is really how we live. You very well could call my story my soul. My story is in essence my soul. And it will be passed down through my kids as long as I remember to have an impact on their lives in a positive one. Because at the end of the day, when I'm gone, the only proof of my existence, as I've said here, will be the impact that I've had on them and the stories that they tell about me and how I am remembered. And moving on here, we will discuss another way that this type of thinking, this type of philosophy can bring you peace. Now let's consider here the concept of suffering. Suffering, just the same, is a concept created in the mind to explain a biological chemical response to our external environment. When something happens outside of you that brings you suffering, a chemical biological response is taking place in your body. There are enzymes and hormones that are released that cause the feelings of suffering. Think back in your life to a time when you went through a period of suffering. Imagine what that felt like, where you were, what you saw, what your mind and your brain took in, your thoughts, the concepts and desires of the moment, and realize that the feelings that you were experiencing were very much a product of biology. Those feelings, I mean, what is that? There's a feeling that comes over us when we suffer due to loss or whatnot. A sadness, something that we do the best we can to communicate with and to explain. And that is another part of our brain at work biologically that is having a response to these feelings and trying to communicate them and explain to ourselves what they are. And that is how we come up with this concept of suffering and sadness, to describe a biochemical response within us to the environment that is taking place, that we experience as a sadness. Now, how exactly can this bring you peace? Well, knowing is, in essence, a form of peace. When I feel sad, when something happens to me that causes me suffering, I know that the suffering does not exist in reality. It is not part of nature. It is something very much that my mind has conceptualized. I have conceptualized this idea of suffering. What is really happening is my brain at the moment is analyzing the situation in front of me and is coming up with a biochemical response to deter me away from that which is detrimental to my chances of survival. It's really all about survival. All the brain is saying is, this is harmful, this is detrimental to your survival, this will not serve you, let's steer away from this. And it releases hormones and chemicals in our body that give us the feelings of sadness to steer us away from that. So I know that when something happens that causes me to experience suffering and sadness, that it really is just a chemical release in the brain. If the brain decided that it was going to release happy chemicals and it was going to have a positive, happy response to this circumstance that is happening, then guess what? This thing externally that is causing me to suffer would cause me happiness. It would cause me to feel joy and experience happiness. It really is a product of biology. And there is peace away from suffering in this, in knowing that it's just a concept that my mind has created and a chemical within my body that I really cannot help. That's all it is. I don't have to be sad. I don't have to feel suffering. My body is just simply trying to respond to what is going on and steer me away from what is detrimental to my survival and towards that which is what is beneficial to my survival. Now, is suffering beneficial to our survival? I would make the argument no. Many might say yes, it is. But to me, suffering is not beneficial to our survival. What is beneficial to our survival is struggle. There's a big difference. Grapes on a vine produce amazing wine because they struggled, not because they suffered. There's a big difference here, and that is a distinction that I want to emphasize. Another way that this type of thinking has brought me peace is in dealing with others. Dealing with others that you have disagreements with, knowing that the disagreements they have with you are not personal. They are not personal. It is simply that person's own biology responding to their environment, steering them towards what they believe to be beneficial to their survival and away from that which they feel is detrimental to their survival. Their brain has been recording life ever since the moment they were born and has come up with these concepts of what is going to benefit them and what is detrimental to them. And everything that they take in their environment, they have a biochemical response to it that will cause them to go one way or the other. So I know that when I have a disagreement with someone about a course of action to take, that it is not personal. It is not that person's inconsideration of my feelings and my wants and desires that cause them to make that decision. They are very much compelled to make that decision as a product of their own biology. We tend to go into situations where we'll have a disagreement with someone and wonder, how can they do that? Don't they understand my point of view? I tried to tell them that I want to do this because of this, that, and the other. And they made a choice otherwise. They chose to shrug me off. They chose to be inconsiderate of my feelings and my wants and desires and serve their own. And I'm upset about that. But then we need to realize that the reason why I'm upset is, again, not to beat a dead horse here, but because of a biochemical response in my brain that says that this is not beneficial to my survival, that this would have been more beneficial, and this is the way that I want to go. It's very much my own biology at work that causes me to disagree with this person. And it's very much that person's biology at work that causes them to go in the direction that they go into. It's not out of inconsideration towards me. It's not personal. To add to this, when you do have disagreements with someone and you have a course of direction in front of you that the two of you can go, and he or she wants to pull you one way and you want to go the other way, and you end up going their way and you're resentful, you're spiteful about it, all you're doing is holding on to things that do not benefit you. We are simply holding on to things that causes anger, that causes angst, and holding on to things that we as people, as human beings, need to learn to let go of. We need to learn to let go of being right. If you don't, if you decide to hold on to these things and hold on to that anger and that angst, well, you've just now made it personal. You've made it personal. You've turned this into a situation where now you're having a disagreement with this person and you are upset with them and failing to understand that it's just your own biology. You have no reason to be upset with them. You have no reason to feel anger towards them. We're not going to die if we give up being right. It's really not about survival. I mean, it is and it isn't. It is because that is what our biological programming is designed to do. That is the way we are designed to look at the situation, to survive. But in a greater context, you're not going to die. This isn't a matter of life and death, nor a matter of survival. It's just our wiring and a biochemical response that is causing me to have disagreements with this person. And I need to learn to let go of these things. I need to learn to relax and to let go of these things and appreciate that maybe someone else here might actually have a good idea. Maybe they have had experiences and whatnot in their life that I have not shared, and their brain has recorded different things in the course of their lives that my brain has not, that will allow them to set us on a trajectory that will be beneficial to me, because now I can learn and experience new things and develop my own mind and give my brain a choice of directions to go in the future that it would not have had I not taken what this person had to say in a serious way. You see, we need to learn that not everything requires an emotional response. Not everything requires an emotional response. When you see people and they are invading the Capitol and whatnot, and not to get political here, I mean, we need to realize that that does not need to invoke an emotional response from me. Yes, there is a matter of law. There's a matter of justice. We live in a society that is beholden to rules and regulations that need to be followed to protect people and the greater good, and so that no harm is done. But that is a matter of law and does not need to invoke an emotional response from me. When I have a disagreement with a loved one, I need to realize that just because we disagree on a course of action, that doesn't mean that I have to have an emotional response to it. Why am I emotionally invested over what time we go grocery shopping? That's just ridiculous. I need to learn to let go of those things and realize that those emotional triggers are just simply a biochemical response. That's all it is. It's not something that comes from my soul. It's not something that comes from my heart. It's not something that comes from my being. It's simply just biology. So again, there is a very real possibility that once our biology shuts down, that's it. We're gone. The only thing that survives is going to be the impact that we had on others. And it could very well be a positive impact, or it could very well be a negative impact. The only thing that is going to survive is my story and how people remember my story and the stories that people tell about me. At the end of the day, we're all human. We're all human. And I'll leave you with a quote here from Abraham Lincoln. Whatever you are, be a good one. Thank you guys so much. It feels so great to get that out, and I appreciate you listening. Follow me at philosophical.reminders on Instagram, wherever you're getting this podcast. Follow me there. I'll put out episodes like this for you guys on a regular basis. I look forward to doing future episodes with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget my YouTube also, Mr. Healthy Habits. Thanks again. You guys have an awesome day.